Hey there, football fans. I'm Rob Pizzola, host of the Circles Off podcast. Today, I'm here in my home office prepping for the upcoming football season, and I'll give you some insight into what I do to make sure I'm ready to go when the season kicks off. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just a newcomer, having a solid offseason process can make all the difference in the world. So let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about the offseason. The NFL offseason is the perfect time to refine your strategies and stay ahead of the game. My process begins right after the Super Bowl and continues all the way up to and throughout the preseason. Here's how I break it down. Number one, I review the previous season. Number two, I evaluate offseason moves. Number three, I study advanced metrics. Now let's break each one of these down further. Step one is reviewing the previous season. This involves going through your past bets, analyzing what worked and what didn't work. Look at your wins, look at your losses, and try to understand the reasons behind them. Were there specific teams or specific types of bets that performed better for you? Is there a large enough sample to say with confidence that you should be doing something differently? For example, I have many years of record keeping available to me in the NFL, and I noticed that my closing line value in early weeks of the season is not as high as some other points in the year. My results have also been worse than I would ordinarily expect early on in the season. This leads me to believe that I'm not capturing a lot of these off-season changes nearly as well as I should, and that I might be better served to proceed with caution early in the year. In addition to reviewing my personal wagers, I do a deep dive into each individual team to see if they performed above, below, or right at my expectations. I like to use some general luck factors like opponent field goal percentages, fumbles, and some other things that paint a picture of whether or not a team was lucky. I spend time meticulously going through each week of the regular season. Did teams suffer catastrophic injuries along the way throughout the year? Did they play a really easy or really difficult schedule when all was said and done? Were there some big fourth quarter comebacks in games involving specific teams? There's no shortage of things that someone could look at, but I generally like to gauge what the true performance of each team was. Next up, I have to account for all the offseason moves. This includes trades, free agent signings, the draft, and coaching changes as well. A key player or coach moving to a new team can significantly impact that team's performance. For instance, an offensive coordinator joining a new team can and will shift the entire dynamic of that team's offense. It's crucial to track these changes and adjust your strategies accordingly. Will a team be more run-heavy or more pass-heavy this season? Do they have the personnel to even make that work? For me, it's not just about evaluating how good or bad the personnel on a specific team is, but how well suited they are to play in the systems that their coaching staff will likely employ. Now let's talk some stats and strategy. Incorporating advanced metrics into your handicapping is crucial. Whether you have a mathematical model that spits out predictions, or you're purely handicapping through traditional methods, you're going to want to look beyond traditional stats like yards and touchdowns. Every year, there are more and more metrics that are available to us bettors, and it's important to stay on top of everything that's available to us. The NFL is a highly competitive market. You're competing against other bettors, and you're not going to get ahead by just settling for the status quo. These metrics provide a deeper understanding of a team's performance, and they can highlight strengths and weaknesses that aren't immediately obvious. This offseason, I've been focusing more on tracking stylistic matchups, particularly how players fare against other types of offenses and defenses. I also use the offseason as a good time to review a lot of my hypotheses from the previous season and research them a little bit further. I think this is time well spent to try to uncover an edge. So how can you incorporate all of this into your process? Here's a high-level, step-by-step guide that works for me. Number one, set some goals. Define what you want to achieve this season. For me, I like to set a return on investment goal and an actual monetary goal. I can achieve my ROI goal by betting earlier, but then I won't reach my monetary goal. So it's important to keep both of these in mind. Number two, create what I would call a research schedule. I like to set dedicated times each week to review news, stats, updates, or just a deep dive into the league. I like to schedule dedicated times in my calendar and ensure that I never feel like I'm behind on anything. Number 3, an easy one, build a routine. I always know what I'm going to be doing on every day throughout the season. For number 4, develop betting strategies. Based on your research, create specific strategies for different types of bets. For example, if I'm going to be betting a lot of props at recreational sportsbooks, I'm very likely to get limited in a short time frame. I plan for different ways to bet these props, potentially in the form of parlays or same-game parlays, to give myself more longevity. In a similar vein, I know that I don't need to wait until NFL Sundays to fill my bet size on an NFL game, so I plan to get down on certain days of the week where I know that I can get the required liquidity for my bets. And finally, number 5, stay informed. Follow NFL news, podcasts, whatever expert analysis you can find. Consume as much good betting content as you can. I'd recommend following the Forward Progress YouTube channel, but there are plenty of valuable resources out there. The majority of things that you consume will not be directly actionable, but you may pick up on a different viewpoint that you can incorporate into your handicapping. Or maybe you spot someone whose bets are regularly moving the market, and you know that their opinion is valuable. And there you have it, folks. Pretty easy. Preparing for the NFL season as a bettor just requires some diligence, research, and a strategic approach. By reviewing the previous season, monitoring the offseason moves, studying advanced metrics, and staying organized, you'll be ready to tackle the upcoming season with confidence. If you found this video helpful, make sure to check out my podcast Circles Off for more educational content. Let's make this NFL season a winning one.